They just start screaming like 1, 2, 3 in one of the songs.
Yeah.
Mic check.
Yeah.
We need that. That should be our opening.
You guys do need an opening.
We do.
Yeah,
you got to keep those structures
Yeah.
the same every time.
What should it be? What should our opening be, do you think?
I think Ben should just sing a song.
You think Ben should sing our opening?
Well, he's a musician.
I can be your hero, baby.
Oh, I love Enrique.
You can take my breath away.
Oh, you
He
even
went like
threw
more
that?
Spanish than Enrique.
Yeah, how did you possibly manage to get more Spanish than Enrique? Oh, wow. Ben,
Yeah.
how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's going great. It's going really good.
Oh, man, this has been... I've been pretty stressed about this. I don't know.
I know you've been freaking out. You were going to cancel Ben last week
I
because he
was
couldn't
like,
figure this out.
listen, everything that could... The learning curve for this is wild. This is the epitome of biting off more than you can chew. We are literally like, okay, let's do this video podcast thing. And then now it's like learning curve after roadblock after we're like, this started out as like, like a fun thing. And we're just like, now it's a labor of love. And we're like, the honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah.
Now we're just working.
It's almost better that the honeymoon phase finishes quickly so you can actually just,
Yeah.
the
Enjoy
ideas are birthed, and then there's joy, and then there's this honeymoon phase, and then it inevitably goes away and you have to actually execute.
Yeah. Joy lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was ready to shut this right down.
And this was Justin's idea too. He's like,
It started on a really solid note. I don't think I'm good enough for this. This is way too much work and effort.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. When we walked in here and it took us 2 hours to set up for like a 30-minute talk, I was like, this is not right.
This is not sustainable.
Right. Yeah.
How are we going to do this? Yeah, super
Well,
fun.
on that note, I'm honored.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a part of our beautiful mess we have going on here.
Yeah.
But so it's again, we apologize in advance if this ends up being super sucky because we're totally winging it. But like we think we still think it's super fun, and I think what we're doing here is like kind of important, and could maybe be something that could be fun for people to watch and listen to. So
That's what we're going for.
that's what we're going
Sounds
for.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I had thought of making. I love golf more than I have in the last few years, and I thought of making a page called the Mediocre Golf Company.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's pretty much like the way you just open this up is like, this may be the most mediocre podcast ever. Like your pitch on what like to anyone listening, what you're about to listen to may not be good, and that was the sales pitch on it, like that would, for the Mediocre Golf Company, it's like, listen, what you're about to watch is a bunch of double bogeys and maybe a par. And I hope you enjoy. Don't expect anything more than that.
That's it.
If there's a birdie, we'll all rejoice together.
Yes.
And that's really what we're aiming for.
That one snippet out of this hour-long conversation is the gold.
So I support it. I support it, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
if you want to see the good stuff, just fast forward to mile marker 3 minute and 42.
Your actual podcast is just telling people the best moments to go to.
Skip this.
That's actually the name of the podcast. Skip this.
Skip this.
The good real estate.
This part.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hey,
So we're going to talk about your hat now for 30 minutes.
Yeah, great. I mean, I really can if you'd like to.
Your hat is pretty sick, though. We were talking about it before. It's an Nordiques hat, right?
The Quebec Nordiques. I don't know what it was, but probably a month ago, I'm scrolling on Insta, and it just comes up. And I don't know if you've ever had that in your life, and it's so dumb. That was my phone.
It's okay. Skip that part.
But I'm scrolling, and it just stuck out to me. And this is it's a stupid hat, and I don't really wear hats all the time. And I think I thought when I go golfing, I'd like to have kind of a crazy hat.
Yeah.
I don't know how to dress when I golf, to be honest. I'm a skateboarder who, when I wear a collared shirt, I'm like, I feel stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm still I think the first time I went golfing, I had this like identity crisis to a nice golf course. And I'm like, Jenna, who am I? And she's looking at me wearing this like weird, I have one collared shirt in my closet. And she's like, it's disgusting. Whatever you're disgusting. Wearing. So I've been working out this golf identity a bit where I'm like, if I wear like kind of all black and then a cool hat, these are my thoughts. But also I just thought it was sick. I always loved the Quebec Nordiques. And so truly, I was hyped and waiting for this hat to come in the mail. When it came in, I was stoked because it was actually like, you know, the green underneath, like legit corduroy hat. Here's the cool thing though. I'm just feeling like there's life on this hat. Since I've had this hat, I went out yesterday, so I love that you're talking. 7 different people are like, dude,
that's the best.
I love that hat.
It's
I'm like,
conversation.
I'm like, started. I know. I'm on the airplane, and a dude, this is like 4 days ago, and he's like, no, we're in the line waiting to go, and he's like, love that hat, brother. Like, I'm like, this hat.
That is everything.
I love this hat. So,
it's amazing.
You know?
I mean, even Justin was like, yeah, your hat's sick. Like, as soon as we came in.
It's rad.
So,
right?
I mean, I love it.
I mean, like, who gets a light blue corduroy hat with red Quebec Nordiques on it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be the only one. There's got to be other people out there, but for sure.
Well, there's definitely 7 people that are looking for it right
now.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
7 people in the last 20. Yeah.
I'm authentically hyped on it, and it doesn't fit me well. I feel like it fits a bit weird. Yeah. It's changing who I am as a person, but I just love it.
Can I also just say I love how much thought you have put into like your golf attire and how you are representing yourself on the golf course?
I still haven't figured it out, but I'm like, if I wear a cool hat and look a little dumb, that's cool. But see, I'm not also good enough to be outrageous on the golf course. Do you know, like,
so you gotta be subtle.
Well, yeah, because you know, if you're really good, you can like make those calls and do a beautiful draw. You know, like, but if you suck and you look outrageous, you're just an idiot. You know, like, I don't have enough confidence out there to look outrageous with. So I'm working my way into that.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the brand though for the mediocre golfer.
Yeah,
it's like it's totally just like a wild look and like very average golf. The world's most okayest golfer.
Yeah, I think the slogan could be, "We're working on it." This is what you can
expect. This is the work in progress. Yeah,
exactly. Working on it.
We're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
exactly right.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
awesome.
Like when I was thinking about like having you in, I was like, all right, like Mary's like, you got to tell like funny stories and stuff, and I was like, you know what? Do you remember when we went to the hockey game?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty, like, I only knew you for like a year or 2 or so, I think at that point, and I took you, and it was your birthday.
Yeah.
And the only thing you yelled the whole game was, "It's my birthday," and you were like up there and animated, and "It's my birthday." They'd score, "It's my birthday," and everybody around us is like high fiving you and stuff. And I remember I got home like, that guy's like out of control. He just like.
And how many hockey games have you been to with Justin since that?
Only one, actually, as a matter of fact. It was a classic extrovert introvert moment, and usually an introvert will take that into their hearts and go, yeah, no, that was a good single time that we did that, and I don't need to put myself through that again in the future.
Oh, we had fun.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time. Yeah.
That's funny. And then Justin immediately sold his season tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. Man, I am like... I'm just like... Now I'm like kind of reeling as to what we're going to talk about here, because we've tried to prepare some stuff like to try to keep this on this train on the tracks.
I think you should.
So
I think you should. I think we should honor that.
Let's do that. But also, like, again, we don't want this to be interviewee, so let's make it like a good conversation. So a couple things that I did want to like quickly talk to you about was you just went to Disneyland, right? Like, how was it, man? Tell us about it.
Yeah. No, it was I think what I can talk about, so Disney's awesome, and we've been there 3 times, which is super bougie to say, but we love it. We love it as a family. Haven't been in a while. We went for 1 day, and Disney itself is super fun. And then the next day we went to Universal. For me, I'll just say this: driving into LA on the freeway and
the worst.
Oh my gosh, and not even the traffic. I mean, the traffic's crazy, but the juxtaposition of what the highway looks like. Yeah. I'm not even in LA, but like everything, like I felt, and sorry to anybody, like as if we're gonna have like friggin' people from LA watching.
Yeah, listen, don't insult our LA
sorry
listeners.
To all of you guys.
Yeah, don't insult our 10 legged
all watching.
Yeah.
sorry. Anyways, it felt like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Like there's graffiti everywhere, there's homelessness everywhere, and again, I'm not even in the city, I'm just on like that outskirt highway that takes you. It was wild. Like it actually, like I'm like, you got to think of what we have here at home, you know, where I live out on the acreage. Like I get a breath every day with just how beautiful life feels out here. Yeah. And so it's quite a juxtaposition. And 2, the way that everything is purported to be over there, right? All of the production, like the juxtaposition of, you know, LA and the hills, but really you go there and you're like, this, I don't want to get, like, Lord, please there's no reason why my car should break down, but please let my car keep working,
right?
So that I don't have to be on the side of the road. And then it's crazy. Then you drive into Universal Studios and it's just like this switch of like, where are we?
Yeah.
So we're not gonna die? Like it's crazy. So that's my little editorial there. I think on the side of taking my actual highlight from the trip, and I'm at that spot with my kids at 14, 12, 10, and 8.
Yeah.
This crazy thing happens in life where as they get older, you really do recognize, like my 14-year-old has, sorry Tallulah, boobies, and is taller than my wife. Sorry again to the millions of followers that are going to be hearing this, but it's trippy.
Sorry, listener.
Yeah, sorry about that, Sean, that you had to hear that and be a part of that. But it's crazy, and like, you know, I remember her being born yesterday, but she's 14.
Yeah,
and she'll be my girl forever, but she's going to be 18 in 4 years.
That's freaky.
And so my brain as a father goes into this feeling of, man, I really just actually want to take in the moments, but it's not the good moments. I just want to take in every moment. And I loved traveling with my kids. It was actually awesome. Yeah. We all did carry on, so we didn't do any check bags. So like there's all 4 of us, and they each have a backpack, and all of us have a little rolly cart. So we're just this convoy going, and we had to do like 3 flights to get over to LA, and just and you know, for, let's say 8 years ago, it's a nightmare just trying to go to McDonald's with 4 children, right? You're like, I'm never leaving. But now that they're all older, like we're all like, I said to the kids on the drive home, guys, I loved traveling with you. Like you were all awesome, and everybody fights and bickers, and that's all part of it, but it's like we did that.
Yeah.
We probably did 6 different flights, and you're all cool kids, and that was fun.
Nice.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm just realizing on this trip that I like you.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was. It's a wonderful realization to come to, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was great, and
the
whole trip was great.
And everything, and you guys traveled with another family too, right?
Yeah, five of their kids.
Wow.
So 13 of us.
Holy moly.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And you guys crushed Disneyland in like, what was it, 1 day, 2 days?
Disneyland 1 day, Universal another day, and then we flew up to Redding, and there's a church there called Bethel, so we did a conference there with all of our kids and just had a wicked time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was that always part of the plan, or did you guys like... Oh.
No, Bethel was actually the anchor of the trip.
Oh, I see.
And we just kind of threw in those other 2 days to... Might as well do those as well.
That actually makes more sense, that you would you would do that in that order. Like you were like, okay, we're going to go down for this, but we're going to be here, so we might as well do Universal and Disney.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Actually, and you mentioned your acreage, and that's the next thing that I want to talk about, because Oh man,
I could fill 48 minutes talking about my acreage. So just be careful.
Let's
vision me into exactly what.
But really, what I want, like, really, the interesting thing that I think I want to like kind of hone in on here is the trade. Like, to me, this is crazy. Fucking wild. Like, I've been doing, like I told Stacy, I'm like, I've been selling real estate since 2005, which I don't know how many years that is because I don't do math well, but in my time, I've seen a lot of people like attempt to do like a trade. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because often there's no, like, they're never going to match up perfectly, right? So it's be like, I'll trade your exact house for my exact house, right? So it's like such a weird thing. But for you to actually execute and to do this trade, like for an acreage for a house in the city, is just crazy. So like, can you like kind of tell us like how that went down in a short version?
I think I've written this one out and explained it enough that I can probably condense it. It's wild, and we weren't, and that's kind of how we function in our life is we live life by our gut, and we've learned to hone that skill and trust that feeling, and then more than anything, execute on it.
Right.
Period. End of story. Right. And I mean, that's how Jenna and I have functioned in our life and in our marriage from the moment we met each other. And it's weird and it doesn't make sense. And it's on the outside, sometimes we look insane over the course of our time together. But that's the skill we've learned is, oh man, we feel like we hear this. It feels right to the two of us. Execute. Right. Like, just just send it, bro. Like, put the Viper Pit glasses on and send it. And so really with that as the foundation, we had thought about having an acreage for some time, but really we had just renoed our entire home and loved it and had the sickest movie room down in the basement.
Yeah, you guys did a ton of work.
Good. And we had talked about an acreage, but at the same time, being a busy realtor, I'm like, can't even mow my backyard. And I'm like, how am I going to manage an acre? Right? Like, it does not pan out. So we just had that like in our hands, perhaps, but it wasn't something we were looking for. And to tell the story as quickly as I can, or as pointedly as I can, I went out. So I had a couple call me out to their acreage. And just like any other appointment, I drove out there, and it was beautiful. I drove up, and it was beautiful. It's one of those ones as a realtor where you're like, I don't know what this really looks like, and I haven't looked it up in advance. So as you drive up, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a cool realtor today, right? Like,
this is the headline Instagram.
Right? You're like, oh, this is gonna be sweet, you know. And so I go in, and the couple that's there, we kind of all run in the same circles in our lives. So there's just a great connection there. And so I walk into their house, and there's these giant windows, and at that time, right around spring, there's these thick snowflakes coming down, these cathedral style windows, and there's trees in the back, and they've got their wood burning fireplace going, and I'm just like, but not thinking about myself as a realtor. I'm like, this place is gorgeous, this is so cool. And I got to stress, I was not thinking like I'm dumb, like, no, I'm just doing an evaluation. So we walk around, I see the place, and we sit at their table, and I basically tell them what I think it's worth. And they had bought it from the original owners that owned it for 10 years. And so it was this custom built place, and they had won it in 6 offers when it came on the market.
Oh, wow.
And when they bought it, it was the fullness of 2009. So we're talking blood red walls, slate tile floors, pine, like think of like black quartz countertops, right? Like just 2009. But in the 2 years, and in 2000, so in the 2 years that they owned it, they did it some beautiful updating renos, floors, countertops, like some really good, smart things that brought it to today's standards. Anyways, all that to say, gave them the price, and I left. And at that point, I was like, in my brain, in the next 3 or 4 days, just, you know, when you have a listing and they're gonna list with me, we know that,
right?
So I'm just, oh, this is great. This is going to be so fun. Like, you just have those thoughts run into your brain. This is going to be so fun. Awesome. You're just feeling great. And as I'm in that mode, I just have this this picture that Jenna drew like 15 years ago. She would draw when we had no money, and Jenna was always able to reach ahead and like, oh, this is what I'm dreaming about. And I'd be like, I would like to pay our bill. Right. I don't know how we're going to do that. Right. Like, right. So she always had that ability to like look ahead, and I didn't. So she would draw pictures of her dream layout of a house just on a piece of paper. And immediately as I'm just hanging out, this image of sort of this rectangle that had an L, and the L was like the garage adjacent, like a triple. And then she had like a dance room on top of the garage with these big windows, and the L had the kitchen underneath, and there was a 2-story overlooking this fireplace room, all of this stuff. And it just, in a moment, I was like, that's, oh my gosh, that's her. This house I just walked into is this layout she drew 15 years ago. So in that, I just went to her and I said, Jenny, you got to look at this layout. You got to look at this house. And I could only show her the old 2009 pictures. But she felt it too. And my client had sent me a couple of their pictures. Yeah. I did it kind of sneaky, like, hey, could you, as a realtor, could you send me a couple photos of that kitchen again? You know, and we both felt it in our guts.
Yeah.
And so after that point, I reached out to them and said, could we actually, me personally, look at your house? Like, it's always a little touchy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so they were cool with that. I do have to say this because this is a very funny thing. So we went and looked on Jenna's birthday. We loved it. I texted them like 20 minutes or an hour later. Well, ... we love it! ! And she texted back, oh my gosh, Ben, I'm literally being wheeled into surgery right now. Can my husband just talk to you after? I'm like, oh yeah, no, of course, that's fine. So basically that day we decided we liked it and we're going to move forward, and worked out even the price we want to do. And then it was about 4 days later. So again, I'm so simple, guys. 4 days later, my friend is talking to me and he goes, so where are they moving to? And I'm like, oh, Spruce Grove. And he's like, oh, what kind of house are they looking for? Oh, something back in green space, and like either a new build or something that's done really well. And he's like, what's their budget? I'm like, oh, about $550. And he's like, Ben, what are you doing, bro? Like, why don't they buy your house? And I'm like, oh,
wait a second.
Totally.
Yeah, this is
so up. Like, dude, it's, you know, and this is much like your guys' podcast. Like, my life is like, I will just move. I will continue moving ahead. Pieces will come in as they go, and we will call it something at the end, right? You know, it will become something. And so I reached out to them, and said, do you guys want to look at our house? Which is, by the way, being a realtor and doing this 10 years, we steward that for people, and so it's very normal to us, but man, that's personal. And I know it is. I know it is for my clients, and I empathize, but like, do you want to look at my house?
Right?
And like,
even just to ask that question.
It's very vulnerable. And so we got our house the cleanest it's ever been in like 10 years. And then they came through and looked. And so me and Jenna drove around, and we're like, oh my God, that one baseboard, I know there's a mark on it. Like, and I'm hearing all my clients talk to me from the last 8 years. I'm like, I feel you. You know, and it was about an hour later, they left, and me and Jenna are driving, and we get this text. Well, ... we love it! ! Now in that moment, me and Jenna are in the car, and like it was this moment of joy. Like we just like burst out laughing hysterically, like both just like this is insane. Yeah. And I love this. I responded back, sorry, I'm just about to be wheeled into surgery. Can we talk about this later?
That's the best.
So that's almost my favorite part of the story.
That's good.
So then really, guys, from that point, we just executed on it. We negotiated the next day. I wrote 2 contracts with my own name on them, which was so trippy. And they were so awesome. And even our negotiations, you know, maybe a few awkward moments, but there was just so much goodwill everywhere, all around, that really I believe everybody was happy, and it wasn't that difficult. But again, weird negotiating for yourself,
right? But
you're not trying to get a deal. You want the best for everybody. It's just funky. And then at the end of the day, we removed conditions and moved in 3 weeks later. I don't think my family even knew until like after we removed conditions.
Wild. Crazy.
So
It's a pretty awesome story.
It is.
I didn't know all
story.
those little details,
Yeah.
but that's pretty cool.
I hope that wasn't too long.
No,
No.
that was actually like perfect. That was perfect.
I think that's like the perfect story for just this one
Yeah.
episode.
Wicked,
right?
wicked. Yeah. And I will say, we went in and talked later with my lawyer, who I've known for 10 years. I love her, and I know her personally. And she looks at me and she goes, I've maybe done one house swap in my life.
Yeah.
She goes,
Right?
never has it been the realtor
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
administrating all of this. Like, this is impossible. And I was like, I know.
But get it done, please.
Yeah. It is. It's so crazy. Like, yeah. And that element I didn't even think about. Like, it's wild to think about, like, how many, like I said, how many attempts I've seen at things like this have happened. Even something as simple as like, oh, we're going to trade, along with a deal. Like, I'm sure you've seen weird stuff like this too. Like, we're going to trade you, or attempt to trade you, a boat for a trailer or something like that, right? It's like some weird thing. And it's like, they can't even come together
like,
on.
What year is the boat? What color are the seats? Are you getting the seats redone?
Yeah.
Can we? Who's going to give the new covers on the seats? Can we decide?
How do you store it in winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like, you've
so,
got-
like, you think about those little eccentricities and like how difficult it would be just to line up something like that, and then like I said, for you to pull this off with that, and of course, being a realtor, I mean, I feel like that's an advantage for sure for both of you, but I just think like it's literally heart surgery, like what you did. Let's just put it this way. I feel like it would take two very special, like-minded people who are very easygoing to be able to make that a reality, right? Because there's so many different like things that could derail that in any way, that it's just like, I don't know, it's wild to me that you guys put it together, and I'm super pumped for you.
Yeah. No, we feel amazed. Yeah.
Oh,
That's great. It's awesome. Well, congrats on the purchase.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's a really good
good way
point to stop on this one.
Not bad,
We
boys.
can do like a little switcheroo.
Not
and,
bad.
take a drink of water and
Sounds good.
start
Back
over.
at it.
All right.